Hello everyone, back with a gaming news commentary video here. I was searching for some news 5-10 minutes ago, just seeing what's going on in the gaming space, as I haven't made a video for a few days. And I came across something that I found pretty interesting, and I feel like I've got a little bit of knowledge already, a bit of experience with, and I've seen something like this before. So gameindustry.biz says that according to a survey they did, the number of UK game dev contractors has tripled over the past year, or I think maybe 13 months. So in 2023, May, there was roughly 4.4% of UK game developers were contractors or freelancers, compared to now in 2024, which is 13%. So that is that's triple the amount. And if anyone's played any big studio games before, such as Halo is the one I'm going to use as an example, because that's obviously what I used to play a lot on this channel, you will know that typically having a studio full of or comprised of a lot of contractors doesn't do too well for your game. These contractors typically are signed for 6 to 12 months, and then they legally by contract have to leave the studio and go and work somewhere else. And what you end up having is somebody who comes in, and for the initial 2 to 3 months of them joining a company, they have to be brought up to speed, and somebody that already exists within the company has to tell them what's going on, update them on the project. They might have to learn a new engine, and you just end up with wasted time and wasted potential, and also wasted money, because contractors cost more money than actually hiring someone full time. So personally, I just don't understand it. I knew this was a big thing in the US. I know that Microsoft do this a ton. Microsoft have really weird policies with their contractors, which a lot of them do work for 6 to 12 months. And then, legally binding, have to go somewhere else. And this is one of the big reasons that Halo had such a rocky development, is because they'd bring in contractors who'd have to learn the engine for 2 to 3 months. Then someone has to bring them up to speed on the game, the direction, etc. And then, when they've started working on something, they don't have enough time to finish it. And ultimately they leave it, a new contractor comes in, and the cycle repeats, and you end up with 8, 9, 10 different developers' pieces of work that have been duct taped together, and sometimes it doesn't work, and it's riddled with bugs, and the new guy can't figure out why, because he didn't make the initial thing. And I just don't understand it. I just don't understand at all. Apparently, the number of game devs in the UK that are now contractors is just under 4,000 people, and there is roughly 28,000 working in the UK. So if this keeps on increasing, year after year after year, by 2030 we could be looking at a stage where half of the industry is just freelancers, and I don't know if I like that at all. I feel like it works for some careers. For example, what I used to do, graphic design, being a freelancer as a graphic designer, working for yourself, self-employment, that kind of thing works. But being a freelancer where you're coming into a team, as a contractor, right, to work on a project for a number of months, I just don't feel like it's enough time to really get to grips with everything, build bonds in the workplace, etc. And I just don't think it works for games. As I briefly touched on as well, the number of full-time roles as of May this year is quite low. It's 25,000, which apparently was the lowest annual growth rate since 2012, at only 4.8% of growth in full-time roles in the games industry, which is very low. So the rate of 13 or 14% rise in contractors, but only a 4.8% rise in full-time work. So the rate of contractors is going quicker than the rate of full-time positions in the game industry. And then obviously we know that, company closures and downsizing has been a huge thing over the past few years. Apparently, 400 companies shed a total of 2,353 full-time jobs in the past 12 months. 400 companies let people off. 2,300 workers in 1 year. It's just that's mind-boggling stuff. So yeah, I don't understand this desire to like just replace full-time workers with contractors. It just doesn't make any sense. They're more expensive. They don't have the time to learn things and get to grips. And typically, they also just don't care, because ultimately they know that the place they're working at isn't going to be like a home, isn't going to be a place where they create bonds. They don't get involved with workplace culture. They're there to do a job and then to move on to the next one and collect as much money as possible. I personally know a couple contractors, and one of them is a programmer, and he makes between $150,000 and $200,000 a year, which is a fuck ton of money. And yeah, I know how some of them can be. So yeah, I just don't understand it. Also, crazy thing, 248 companies actually closed down during the past year. I didn't even know there was 248 game dev companies in the UK. Like, what? Something has to change, because it's absolutely wild what's going on here. I'd love to know why studios do this. Like, what data do they have that says this is the right move to make? Or maybe it's just because they don't have to like lay people off if they do contractors, so that's why they do it. They don't have to go through the process of, laying someone off. They don't have to give them severance in the US, you'd call it, but redundancy pay here in the UK, you'd call it. So maybe they find that it could be cheaper and less hassle over a longer duration. I don't know. But I think that the games industry right now is in a very bad place. At least AAA gaming is. Indie is in a really good place. And I think indies are growing. They're taking over. More people are becoming more aware of them and more willing to try them. I know that a lot of people also pirate indie games, but I think people are also willing to pay for the indie game once they have played it and if they like it. It's kind of like a try before you buy. People pirate them, and then if they like it, 3 months down the line when they've got the money, they'll actually pay for it to support the dev, which is really cool. And a lot of the devs that I know or I've seen online are okay with that. I think indies in general are just, indies now are what AAA used to be like 20 or 30 years ago. They are just guys at home or guys in a shed or a small office, a small team of 5 to 15 people that are really passionate about something, and they're just normal people. They're trying to create something cool and fun and unique, and that's what people miss. I just think the days of having studios that have 400 people behind them, have contractors coming in, games that are taking 6 years to make, I think those days are going to be, well, hopefully those days are going to be behind us soon. I think that a lot of games are struggling to reach player counts they desire, to make the money back they spend on the insane marketing plans they have. Games these days, AAA ones, being subject to extremely high budgets, 200 million, 400 million. We've been hearing those numbers thrown around across a few years. And I think that something has to and will change. So, yeah. The people who conducted this survey say that the sharp rise in freelancers in the UK has been caused by a number of factors. Many studios downsizing and restructuring their business means that they do use freelancers and contractors to fill the gaps, which I can kind of understand, but again, why don't you just replace them with a full-time member of staff that you actually need? So yeah, apparently some are also using contractors for co-development work. So I'm guessing maybe they'd contract like an entire team, an entire studio of people. As well as QA roles are being contracted as well now, rather than hiring QA teams fully. But I think QA freelancing has been a thing for quite a while. During my time developing CrossPlanet, we actually had a few, not many, maybe like 3 or 4 like QA communities and things, messages saying, hey, we charge X amount of money to have 30 people test your game for an hour or two. We never really bit on that because we had a decent community ourselves of like 600 Discord members who would test the game. But I've known that's been a thing for a while. So yeah, that's kind of it. The only other thing is that they also highlighted that contracting is very, very, very common, even more common in other industries, like other media industries such as TV and film. Apparently around 40% of the film industry is contractors now. I'm really hoping that doesn't become the norm in gaming. Hopefully AAA games that keep being created by a workforce of contractors keep failing, so that ultimately they choose not to go down that route. So yeah, that's it. Just wanted to do a little bit of a video on this as someone who's played a game that had been primarily made by contractors and has seen people express their concerns already for this kind of thing. Just thought it'd be a bit of an interesting video to make. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know if you've played any games that are known to have been worked on by contractors. Let me know if you're a contractor yourself, if you are a freelancer in your industry. I think over the past few years, freelancing has been something that has grown a lot, and there are some people, such as the founder of LinkedIn, that say a lot more people over the next 5-10 years will become freelancers. I think he predicted that like over 50% of the world will become freelancers or something at some point, and that's just the way people are going to go. The gig economy is what it's being called. Rather than working at one company, you may work at 3 or 4, having separate gigs going on. Apparently, that's something that may happen. So yeah, all right, that's going to be it. Just wanted to talk about this, and I'll see you in the next video whenever some gaming news or creator news or something pops up on my timeline. All right, see you.